What do Russia, China and the USA all have in common? Here's a clue. They all have great big bombers. If you are a great power, although you could argue that America is the only remaining superpower, you need a great big bomber. So the Russians have the Tu-95 Bear, they have the Tu-160, they have the Tu-22. The Americans, of course, have the B-1, the B-52, and the B-2 stealth bomber, and now the B-21 Raider. The Malagasy Air Force, which is in Madagascar, WHIF land, retired its Vulcan fleet in 1994. The Vulcans had served from 1962 along with a fleet of Valiants. After retirement, they sensibly stored most of them at AMARC or AMARC, the Boneyard in America, where the weather is good. I've been there. It's absolutely the driest piece of desert you could ever find. It hits you as soon as you get out the car, and it's right next to the Pima Air Museum, which is well worth a visit. And they've stored their bombers there under wraps in mothballs since they were retired, which is a good move. Events in the world have now changed. Now there is a rise in great power and superpower tension, and nothing allows you to project power like aircraft carriers and big bombers. Now we'll go over to the theory corner and we'll talk about the supporting assets for the Vulcans, of which W for Walrus marks the first Vulcan to come out of storage of 23 that will be returned to active duty in 2024. And here's some of the supporting actors. So over in the theory corner, we'll look at how it's planned to be used. Well, the reason they're bringing the Vulcan back is because they've just retired the Hustlers. The Hustler has an 8,000 pound bomb load. It is supersonic. The Vulcan has a 21,000 pound bomb load. It's subsonic, high subsonic, but it's the right aircraft that they need to fight any sustained conflicts. So the Vulcan links in to the data link system, which has the command and control and the links to other assets. The Vulcan also links into the Su-34M, which was bought to replace the Hustler, but it's not quite up there with the Hustler or the Vulcan, hence the bringing back of the Vulcans. So the Su-34s will now take on a dedicated suppression of enemy air defence role, mainly going after the radars. The FC-31A strike fighter will take on the AA systems, mainly going after the hardware. And the Vulcan will use its huge lifting capability to deliver long-range strike power. So here's the FC-31, which is a Chinese export equivalent to the F-35. And here is the Su-34M. Now this is fully equipped for the siege role with Israeli Delilah missiles and the Malagasy own smart guided glide and powered bomb. So those will be used to support the Vulcan fleet. The Vulcan, of course, has a huge payload, and here it is in its new camouflage scheme for 2024. This is the first time I've airbrushed an aircraft all over, apart from some of the detail bits which I've had to pick out by hand, and I will be airbrushing everything else now. It's such a good way of getting an even paint finish, and I'm absolutely amazed I didn't do it earlier. So thanks to my friend Matt for pressurising me into using the airbrush. It's absolutely brilliant. I've done it with the ladder down. Now all aircraft ladders in the Malagasy Air Force are red. So that's red, not yellow, as it should be on a Vulcan. And it's got the low vis roundels, although some of the markings are high vis. It's got a satellite navigation antennae. It's got missile warning systems, MAWS, MAWS, here on the tail, here on the ECM fairing, and on the nose. It's also got some good electronic countermeasures systems. Now the Vulcan always had good electronic countermeasures. But underneath we can see it's got directed infrared countermeasures. Those are the silver protrusions. It retains the Vulcan's massive capacity for chaff and flare dispensing, which are those silver markings behind the wheel well. This is of course the old Airfix Vulcan, which isn't as good as the new one, but I think it still builds quite a nice kit. I just need to decide what to hang under the wings, but to show it's a modern aircraft, it's got the Lockheed Sniper Pod on it there, which allows it to deliver precision firepower. On the nose, it's got a forward-looking infrared underneath the radar system, which has been upgraded to a digital one, and that allows flying at night or bad weather at low level using the train following radar on the front of the nose. The red shrimp is obsolete, so that's been replaced by the green octopus system of directed infrared countermeasures. Now unfortunately the Airfix old Vulcan has raised panel lines. Not a lot I could do about that. I'm not a rescriber yet. So there we go. I quite like this and I think it's finished really nicely. And here is W for Walrus pre-retirement in 1974. This has the Olympus 201 engines. Now I've done another video on this, so if you want to see that in a bit more detail, have a look. The new Vulcans, when they return to service, will have the F118 engine, which is the same one that powers the B2. It's only slightly bigger, so it should fit in the wings, no problems. But it's a more powerful and lighter engine, so that frees up some more payload. So what will the Vulcan be carrying? Well, let's have a look at what it was carrying in 1974. Now this was quite advanced for the time, more advanced than the RAF models, although they could carry these slightly later on. So of course in 1974 you had the Shrike. This was a special American derived weapon. This is a 3,000 pound laser guided demolition bomb, which is pretty massive, and that's the only weapon really which is still in service. The Martel missile, anti-radar, and the GBU-8. So with the exception of this, all of these are now obsolete. The Vulcan can of course carry 21 unguided dumb bombs, but the new armament options for the Vulcan are pretty huge. We have totally WHIF AGM-109C Tomahawk conventional long-range cruise missiles. We've got some of the Malagasy Air Force's own Glide Penguin powered smart bombs. We've got the Harm anti-radiation missile, Israeli spice bombs, Taurus KEP 350 cruise missiles. Demolition bomb still remains because at £3,000, the only aircraft that can lift it is an aircraft of the Vulcan's capability. Inside the bomb bay you'll find JDAMs, a mix to up to 12 JDAMs, £2,000 bombs or £2,000 BLU-109 penetrating bombs. Of course it can carry the Israeli Delilah smart cruise missile, which is really good suppression of enemy air defence weapon. It can carry the AGM-158 JASSM, the AGM-154 JSAL glide bomb, GBU-24 penetration guided bomb. The Popeye missiles will fit under the wings, so two can be carried. It can carry the RBS-15 anti-ship missile, the GBU-15, the GBU-8 planar wing, and this one has a satellite navigation nose. Or a GBU-15 electro-optical guided bomb, or a new, and this is a combination and a collaboration with the United Arab Emirates, the GBU-15 satellite guided powered GBU-15. Now this bomb is actually in service, but very little is known about it. Though if you look at the F-16 documents and the UAE F-16s, you'll find that they've been test flying some of these, which are very kept under wraps, so to speak. So here we go. So here is the Vulcan, W for Walrus, with its potential payload, the first of the 23 Vulcans to be returned to service in 2024. And just to show you what the past was like, here is W for Walrus in 1974. I hope you've enjoyed this video and the trip down the WHIF tunnel. I'm currently working on Vicky the Valiant. The special military operation has now come back into the kitchen, take that over. And here is Vicky the Valiant, which is the Airfix new Valiant model, which is absolutely beautiful. Look at that Bombay. So hopefully the next video I do will be on Vicky the Valiant. Like I said, I hope you've enjoyed this, and let me know what you think and what you'd like to see. Take care everyone, goodbye.